God, ladies, sorry I'm late this morning. It's been a bit of a morning. Well, not a bit of a morning. I've been exercising, and I don't know how many of you knew that this weekend I was climbing mountains in Scotland. Huge exaggeration, but I really did a bit of damage to my body because I was walking with two billy goats. Anyway, let me just here. I'm just going to put hellos. Say hello. Say your name. Say your name. Do 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 do. So that was the weekend. I went away and I walked up mountains with girls who, oh God, I got real mascara. That's good because it's dirty FaceTime. We're going to clean FaceTime. With 2 or 3 women who were just so fit. And I felt so unfit because they were used to climbing up mountains. Anyway, I got back and I was very stiff. And you know I've been a bit stiff. And I was kind of trying to trace back why I'm feeling like this. Because I felt brilliant at the beginning of staying at home. I did 6 weeks of 0 smoking, because I smoke occasionally, 0 sugar, exercise, and my body felt really good because I wasn't giving it any inflammation. But in the last 2 or 3 weeks, I went back on Ice Cream Union. Banana split ice cream. It's like, it's my nemesis. That's what it is. So my body just started misbehaving, and I didn't put it totally down to my kind of increased intake of sugar. And to the extent that my hips were aching and my knees were aching, I was thinking, what's happening? I mean, somebody said, do you have Lyme's disease? I mean, no, I don't. But just that sense, body crashing. And, you know, we've had some amazing guys that we've listened to through the last few months, from Dr. Sepp to Rosemary Ferguson to Dr. Erika Schwartz to Shabir. You know, so many people around me in my life give me good information. And some days I choose to take it and some days I don't. And the last few weeks I decided not to take it because I thought, hey, it doesn't matter I'm 56 and postmenopausal. I can have all the sugar I like in the world. I can't. I just can't because I see the reaction on my body. But before I start all that, because last is not in my head, one of the most important things we should all be doing at any age is taking 2 litres of water per day. So, Hannah,
Yeah.
do you have a list of those women who committed?
Yeah, there's a few commenting right now. Tracy's saying that she's drinking 2 days of water.
But did you have the list of the women who committed?
Yeah, if you give me a second, I'll try and find it.
Okay, we're going to find that list, and I want you ladies to say, how were you with the water challenge? I'm going to say that I was definitely 2 litres of water a day, apart from when I knew I was going to go walking for 2 hours and I wasn't near a loo. I mean, I was near a lot of, you know, kind of heather, but I don't always like to pee in the wild. But then I made up for it when I got back, and I mean, Scottish water in the Highlands is the most delicious thing ever. I got out of my bath and my skin, I didn't need moisturizer. It was so soft. Phenomenal. But anyway, how about those ladies who committed to water? Do you want to just put your hands up and say, you committed, and you're there? Because that's fantastic. Really fantastic. So anyway, Hannah's going to get the list. But in the meantime, I'll tell you what I did. I got back on Sunday. And I thought, Jesus Christ, what's happening here? So I called Dr. Erika in New York and I said, Dr. Erika, I don't know what's happening, but I'd had a massage at the weekend. And this woman said, you know, I can really feel your joints are very stiff. And the first thing she says to me after about 5 minutes, she said, are you taking hormone supplements? And I go, well, I was for 5 years. And she goes, are you taking them right now? And I go, I'm not, because my prescription ran out. I get it from a lady in New York, and I didn't renew it. So I've had 3 months. Time flies. 4 months without any supplements. Now, this is a really interesting question, because we're going to get on to cleansing our skin in a minute, because this is the question I'm going to pose to you ladies. For those of you perimenopausal, really important to read books like Let's Talk About Hormones, or Dr. Erika Schwartz's hormone book. It's phenomenal. You know, anyone late 30s onwards should be reading that book because it really educates you about how much our hormones affect everything inside our body at every different stage. Now, of course, when I call Erika, she goes, are you a nincompoop? Because that's why I think you're feeling as you're feeling. And you know, she has a real strong belief system, and her belief system, which I've kind of grown to love, not that I've practiced what she preaches all the time, is that, you know, okay. At the weekend, a woman who was there, who I'd introduced to Erika Schwartz, said to me, Trinny, I'm thinking of just coming off HRT, hormone replacement therapy, whatever kind of hormone replacement therapy you do. Dr. Erika does biodynamics, but it's still a form of hormone replacement therapy. I said, why? And she said, oh, because, you know, I just thought. And I was, you know, I'd just come down from having that massage. It was just dawning on me. It's, you know, my body, what happens? This is what happens. And if you watch Dr. Erika's film, it reinforces. I did this film with her about 3 months ago, but it really reinforces it. You know, when we stop our period, our body is being told it's on its way to shutting down to death. In the most basic, hideous description for you. But that's what it's doing. You stopped the thing you've been put on the earth for, which is to reproduce. I'm going back to cave dwelling. And now it's time for you to kick out so another person can come in and reproduce. All right. So that's sort of that ancient clock of our body. Now we do live longer and longer and longer because we eat healthier. Well, in some instances, a lot more processed. But we have more medical ways to deal with things that come up. Medical solutions. So having that hormone support allows me to have that energy to do a thing, okay? And I want to do that. I want to be able to, I've said this so often, climb the mountain. I'm sorry I swore. When I'm 80, I want to climb the mountain. I don't want to go up like a wizened person who's thinking, oh, every ache. And I do believe the way I can do that is to have hormonal support, because otherwise my body will think it's slowly shutting down and it won't give me that support, because then I will have other things come up. My mum has osteoporosis. And, you know, I need hormone support, if not for anything, for the osteoporosis, because I don't want to just become brittle. And that's why I'm relieved. I just nipped it in the bud. I'm going to get the supplements back. I hope to get them this week, back on them. And the other thing as well is I'm recommitting to no sugar, because you know what, that build-up, that combination. So let's say let's say I had no sugar in my diet and I wasn't taking my hormones, I would have been half as achy as I was, because the inflammation, I got back, and my knees, the inflammation in my knees, which is only just going down now, they were like this, and it was a mixture. I was slightly high in, no, not stoned. I was slightly high up in the countryside. So that always does it for me, that pressure of, you know, being above 1,000 feet, 1,000 meters. I could feel the water on my knee. I could feel, like this woman said to me, God, your ankles are swollen. And I would go, and who's doing the massage? And I went, well, not particularly. They can get a lot worse than that. She said, you really need to deal with the inflammation in your body. Ladies, it's like, you know, okay, Carol, that's such an important question. I'm 64. Could I start HRT at any age? You know what I'm going to say is that I think you can. Now, I'm not a doctor, but having spoken to Dr. Erika and a few other doctors, I do know that they put patients on supplements at every single age. I also know that a thing she will say endlessly, and this is an interesting thing, because during staying at home, you know, we all got to know our partners really well again, and sometimes they pissed us off, or, you know, there are some people who maybe feel, do I want to be with them anymore? You know, it brought up a lot of stuff, but also the really important thing here is that men get andropause. Now, andropause is also an imbalance of hormones. So the biggest imbalance for a man to have is a lacking in testosterone. That's their main support energy, not just sexual energy, but energy, you know, that kind of va-va-vum. So if you're sort of with a partner and you're a similar age and you're in 50s or 60s and you feel just, you know, women sometimes look at their partners and think, you're really slowing down. And I don't want to slow down. How many people can identify with that? So what can you actually do to help them? That's an interesting one too. And I know that to you know, for those of you living in lots of different countries, there are different relationships and different open-mindedness. But, you know, I know that a classic British, old-fashioned man, if you were to go up to him and say, can you get your hormones checked? He would go, are you kidding? But some men might say, why? And if you do get that check done and you find that their testosterone is really low, what's interesting, this is the thing she says, Dr. Erika. This is like really, I love this. I love this. And this is like, it's difficult to, okay, I'm going to go on, by the way. I can't take HRT. What else can I take? I'm 55. Tracy, I'm going to get onto that. But what's really interesting in this one is Dr. Erika says to me, I think I should get her back on. And you know we can do lives on Facebook now, and I think I'll get her back on with you ladies. How many of you have seen my lives on Instagram with her? But she says, the amount of men that I have met that divorced their wives because they were having a sort of midlife crisis and they wanted the affair or the sports car or the new friend set or something was because their testosterone was not working. And as a result of that, and this can happen to a man, you know, from 45 onwards, I think, is they just felt the need to get that kick, and they didn't understand their body was not getting that kick from the hormones, so they tried to externally get that kick. So if you can at all drag, first of all, if you can get a GP to be open to saying, you know, can I look at hormone levels because I think they're having a real effect on my partner or on me. This is the hardest thing in some countries with some doctors, is that they're like, HRT. I was, you know, when I first went and at 45, 46, I started, my period stopped and I thought I'm going into menopause early. I don't know why. I went to see, first doctor I went to see, they went, all right. And I said, I've stopped my period. Well, are you eating all right? I went, fine. Okay, well, that's your period. That's your end of your period. Menopause now. Here's some HRT meds. You're in HRT. That was it. I didn't have one test. So I went away and I took this spray, cream, whatever, and I put it on and I just felt really weird. So I went on such a long journey to discover Dr. Erika. And I read Susan Summers' books, who rattled around with supplements. I went to see a woman in London called Marion Gluck. I went to see so many people. And there are a lot of different opinions around menopause. So one thing I'm going to say, and this is very controversial, is Dr. Erika believes that if you have had certain forms of breast cancer, you can still do bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. That is her opinion. She has a huge amount of scientific evidence to back it up. So many GPs will say, if you've had some form of breast cancer, there's no way you can do any kind of HRT at all. And I think they make it very black and white. So I think there's some grey areas. And yeah, so my doctor told me they don't do hormone tests because they don't believe in them. I mean, what the? It really upsets me because there are so many women suffering and a few men suffering, no idea what they're suffering from. And if only we could just say, what are those? So natural product I'm going to start with, because when I'd seen Erika and I was doing them, but then I had, you know, a period of time where I just, basically Erika's quite expensive. So I didn't have much money and I was starting Trinny London and I needed some support. So I started having conversations with Sabir from Victoria Health. And he then said to me, Trinny, try the natural route. And the natural route to him is sage, which is great for your kind of heat levels going up and down. Magnolia rhodiola, which is fantastic for mood and buoyancy. And cherry night powder, which is great to sleep. And that combination, along with magnesium, very important for your bones and everything, great supplemental program, is good. Okay? But I'm just going to say, you see, look, you were put on HRT with no test at all. You're a healthcare professional in Australia, but I frequently say to friends, see a specialist. Yeah, go and see. There's endocrinologists that are hormone experts. That's what an endocrinologist. Dr. Erika is an endocrinologist. It means you're a doctor and you specialize in hormones. Louise Newson, a lot of people talk about. She's UK based. I heard her name a few days ago and today. So great if you throw in names of people you think have really helped you. So the more people, can I just say, who are seeing a practitioner for their menopause, because we've got so many women around the world here, could you just say who you're seeing, in which country you're in? Because I think that would be unbelievably helpful for other women. And, you know, I'm just going to lay down here. This is an open forum. It is your opinion. If you're seeing somebody and they've really helped you, you're just sharing your opinion of somebody. It doesn't mean it's going to work for somebody else, but it gives people, other people to go and see. So wherever you are, if you're having somebody who's great, please tell us their name and where you live. That would be fantastic. Donna, my doctor tested me for the menopause. I've been without periods for 2.5 years now. I'm nearly 52. I need someone, but don't want HRT. I need something, but don't want it. The thing is also, Donna, why don't you want HRT? Because HRT is in a way a generic name for hormone replacement therapy. So if you look at HRT as the generic hormone replacement therapy, you can be on different types of hormonal replacement therapy. So Shabir, his kind of sage complex and magnolia rhodioli and cherry night powder is a hormone replacement therapy concept. Okay, it's supportive more. You know, Dr. Julia Hunter, she does also a lot of creams. She does the progesterone and the testosterone and the estrogen creams. That's a kind of hormone replacement therapy. And then you have, in my mind, these are the people I work with, Erika Schwartz, and she has actual biodynamic or bioidentical, sorry. I always say biodynamic, and she always says to me, why do you say biodynamic? Bioidentical. So they replicate hormones. So those are all the different things. HRT patches are, you know, patches of estrogen, progesterone, or testosterone. So they come in all different forms. So when you say you don't want to do HRT, it's like you just got to really be open to what is it you actually don't want to do. If you don't want to do, because the original HRT was literally, I'm going to say mare's urine, but the way they got the hormones was from that source. Don't want to go there either. But there are many other alternatives. You have had a total hysterectomy when I was 30 and they never put me on HRT. I mean, Michelle, really, I mean, bugger, that's just... So I love this. Elena, Magnolia also reduces cortisol levels. I'm a licensed neuropath doctor and practice interactive medicine. Lovely, Elena. Do say where you're from. Lots of people are looking for people like yourself, so please feel free to share your details. Rhoda, lots of women struggle with underactive thyroid too. I mean, can I just tell you, when I went to see Dr. Erika, just to give you a difference between America, I know this is going to be about cleansers, but, you know, we're on a good conversation here. Just tell you the difference between America and here. So when I went to see her, and it cost me a fortune, all right? I mean, it really cost me a fortune. It was like, in total, all these tests and everything was about £3,500. So I did mental, physical, and medical tests. So I did all my blood work. So I had the levels of every single vitamin in my body, the levels of all my hormones. I had skin work done just to see the reaction of my skin. I did a ton of cognitive testing too, just to see where my brain was at, how quickly was my, what was my memory at, things like that. So then afterwards, the big reveal was, this is your true age and this is your menopausal age, or your testing age. So I scored really young in some and I scored really old in others. And it was fascinating. It was like nothing I had done ever. That's why, to me, Dr. Erika is brilliant. She might talk oddly about relationships, which I know some of you have listened to some of those, but my God, is her knowledge incredible on the menopause. And her books are fantastic. So if you can't get to see her, Hannah, can you look up what her book's called, darling? Dr. Erika Schwartz. It's something like The Hormone Solution. I think it is called The Hormone Solution, but just, Hannah, I started at 38 and my doctor was HRT, got on with it. I changed doctors and now get great support, but it's a journey. It is a journey with menopausal clinics now. You started sage and soya. Okay. Sage and soya. Okay.
Yeah, the Hormone Solution and the New Hormone Solution.
The Hormone Solution and the New Hormone Solution. There's the books. Buy those books off Amazon. Read them. If you want to get some education around your lack of hormone support and what that's doing for your body, that's the book to read. To me, it's one of the best books to read. Claire, I ended up in the hospital. Faye, totally grabbed being on patches for 2 years now. I'm 59, late menopause, and it's okay. Can I just say, for all the women also watching who are younger, all right, I'm just going to start with the cleanser because we were going to do cleansers today, and let's bring something in. I'm going to use the lovely Skingredients. They're PreProbiotic cleanser, by the way. But, those of you watching your 30s and 40s, this is something, I am so grateful for you guys that you can listen to this conversation now, because you will then do the right thing, and older women, you know, there's some women here, as we've seen, the doctor, you know, they're now in their 60s, and the doctor said, here's an HRT and go on it. Blah. Not even a test. You don't want to be in that position, ladies, at all. And you want to have all the choices in front of you and to make the best decisions. So the best thing you can do is read that, because hormones affect women from their, as soon as they start having their period, let's face it, because suddenly you got some hormones, okay? That's what happens. Our hormones wake up, we get our period. And the effect of our hormones on us through our life is so impactful in ways that we don't always get educated upon. So reading that book, it gives you a sense from literally your 20s, what's happening with your hormones and how do they affect you. And, you know, there's a lot of things that we don't realize are about our hormone levels. So, okay, all right. I've had my rant. I think, are you sharing? That's great. What about from having cervical cancer at a young age? I've been on the same HRT and no one checks if I've been so sick for years. I mean, no one checks it. I mean, that, Jamie, that is so scary to me. And I would say that, you know, there are a lot of women who are on a huge budget, I mean, on a tiny budget, and I feel there are some, you know, there are charities out there. This is a really interesting thing, actually. I'm just going to think about this. Okay, let's think about this, because this could be for me that we're beginning something here, right this very second, as a charity. Because there are many charities for female cancers, aren't there? We know many, we support many, we have many friends who have, or you yourselves have suffered from or might be suffering from what I would call a female cancer. But what there isn't really, I don't know, any charitable support for is the menopause. And I know that sounds weird, but I think there's a lot of women who maybe do not have the financial resource to find an alternative, you know, just to be able to not have their lazy GP say to them, shove you on that. And I feel very lucky that I can think, okay, I'm going to actually not buy clothes for 3 months because I need to get this fixed. And that's a decision I made, because for me at the time, at any time it was hugely expensive, because it was literally hugely expensive. But I needed to do it, and I needed to wake up and realize that's why, because it affects every single aspect of your life. That's the thing, okay? You're saying Dr. Sufidi in Amsterdam Women's Health Centre. That's great. Please share your, for Australians, Google the menopausal clinics. They do biohormones. I mean, I bloody love Australia. There are menopause clinics. I just don't know. Are there menopause clinics in the UK? I don't think so. Happy Hormones Australia. Brilliant. Brilliant. Thank you. Jean Hale's Clinic, Melbourne, Australia. Fantastic. Dita Sisoa, Jaipur, India. This is incredible, ladies. Can I just say, I'm getting goosebumps. I'm getting goosebumps that those women out there who are having successful relationships with doctors helping them on the menopause are sharing those women who are helping them, or those men who are helping them. Brilliant. Okay. The M Word is a great book, and the doctor that wrote it is Australian. Fantastic. You have patches, they're brilliant. I'm 46, living in Brisbane. My doctor is from the UK. I have a health check, and I asked if I should have my hormones checked because my mum died when I was younger, and I have no gauge of what I should go through. Darling, for sure. Rachel, Centre for Health and Human Performance at 76 Harley Street. If you're in London, it's great. Brilliant. Your knees are so sore, Aini is saying. I'm only 50. My joints are sore everywhere. Darling, I am not a diagnostic doctor. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a practitioner of any sort. But I would say a symptom of the menopause is achy joints. It's a symptom. It's because you haven't got the hormonal support and things get a bit drier everywhere. You know, vaginal dryness. Sorry, Hannah. I know you're in your 20s. Lovely Hannah's here to take questions. But, you know, that's something that is just not talked about that much. And it's a hell of a painful issue for some women, you know, and you know, being on some kind of bioidentical hormonal support, you won't have that. I'm getting so worked out, vaginal dryness. But that's, you know, I don't have vaginal dryness, thank God. I know some women who do. And I know how painful it is. And I know if they're having sex, it can be really painful. So Aini, Sorry, Amy. I would please get your hormone levels checked. Claire, Dr. Heidi Freer in Johannesburg, Bryanston, has really helped feel better as I cannot take HRT, so I'm natural solutions. Brilliant. Lillian von Eyck, homeopathy was brilliant. I love this, and that's in where. Say which town they're in. Please say which town they're in, because if you're looking up somebody's name in just a country, it might be a bit difficult. But, you know, they're all unusual names, so I'm sure it's fine. Paid to see a consultant who specialises in hormones. Best £150 I spent. I'm a girl, and the tablet never felt so well. You know, if you have hormone cancer, please don't. Okay, Bev, I don't know what you mean by hormone cancer. But I think that get checked, you know, and go and see somebody who's a proper doctor, but if possible, an endocrinologist. And, you know, if you see a quack who says you can take something when maybe you have suffered from a cancer and you shouldn't, that's bad medical practice. We don't practice that here because we are not qualified. But what I would say to you is if you've been told by an average GP, who you don't love anyway, let's just put it out there, that, oh, you've had cancer, you can't take it. I want you to go and check. Just check it again. It's like no harm in a second opinion, but get the second opinion from a very good qualified person, please, not from some quack. Okay? But I just think it's important because I do know from Erika that there are women she treats who have had certain forms of female cancers. They've fully recovered and they have. And she puts them on a special program. So I'm not going to do blanket for everyone, but I'm saying what I know to be true. Taken you 2 years to find the right combination of HRT for you. Now it's great. I'm on a great Facebook group for menopause led by Diana Dadson Brink. Loads of open sharing issues by brilliant Caroline today. Yes, darling, 62, Caroline. And my doctor's very wrong. She thinks it's all in my head. Caroline, I mean, shoot the bloody doctor, will you? She thinks it's all in your head, really, because she's like a baby and she has no idea. They only gave me a cream because I'm on a blood thinner. Melissa, you could look, and you have to check there aren't any contraindications, but you could look at things like Magnolia rhodiola, you know. Magnolia rhodiola is a phenomenal supplement because it really makes your mood like this. And that's a lot of what happens in menopause too, is our mood goes, whoop. I know I'm never going to get to cleansing. They're all here and waiting and ready. How many people want to get to cleansing? Karen Barra, Sydney, Australia, Bioidentical Hormones, General Practitioner Specialist. This is just brilliant. I love. You don't want to get cancer. Donna, none of us want to get cancer, my darling. You know, we're not talking about getting cancer here. We're talking about dealing with our hormone levels, my love. Sarah, I'm 50 on HRT, but still having periods. Why? I'm not a doctor, darling. I can't give you the answer to that. And I wondered when you went on the HRT, had your period stopped totally? I knew that I got a bit of blood spotting when I started HRT, so I don't know how long you've been on it. When I went on that first bad HRT. You can go online to get a hormone test. That's great. I think when you're taking things into your own hands, you can go online, but you need to be able to have a professional analyze those results, Natasha. So just, yeah. Modern HRT is made of yams. Thank you, Jane. I mean, mare's urine. I know I was exaggerating, but when I started taking it, because I am now 56, and this was 12 years ago, I think it was mare's urine. But nice, it's yams. Marita, majority of gynecologists in Melbourne, Australia are great. You see, the things, I think in Australia, they're so much better. Really happy. So much better. Can her make you put in weight? Can menopause make you put on weight? Yes, it can. And what happens is a lot of people say, oh, I got menopause and then I lost my weight. This needn't be the case, ladies. Can I just state this? I have to get, somebody's left me a cup of coffee, and I know somebody doesn't like me drinking or eating on when I'm talking to you, but you know, I'm really hungry. It's the only time I have to have my breakfast. You have to forgive me. Let me just get it. But can I just say that you just, I forgot what I was saying. Oh, yes, putting on weight. I think I said this with Lila the other day. If you are 20 and you eat tons of sugar, you will just burn it off. When you're older, your metabolism is changing, and you don't. And when you're older and you might be going into menopause and you haven't got that support in your body, it turns to fat. And that's why we lose our waist. So it's really addressing the diet. And, you know, there's many women I know who, I'm so sorry, I've just got to eat something very quickly because I felt a bit sick. There's many women I know who have always loved a little drink. And, you know, they'll have a nice glass of wine at night, which is fine. Whatever makes you happy. But the thing is, if that's consistent and that sugar is so much more inflammatory now in your sort of 50s and 60s than maybe it was in your 30s and 40s, you need to seriously consider switching to tequila. No, just saying. I have so many women. Hannah, you didn't think I was going to say that, did you? Hannah's not even listening anymore.
No, I am listening. I was laughing, sorry, because I will switch to tequila now.
Okay, but you know, it's like, you know, just look at the things you do as a habit in your life, okay? And just think to yourself, should I be just tweaking? I don't want to say to you, you've got to rewrite the history books, but if you want to feel good in your 50s and 60s, there are certain things you just got to say, that won't make me feel good. So for me, a ton of ice cream, I just have to say, I'm glad you found it funny. I just have to say, you got to stop it. Trinny, you got to stop it, because you know what that leads to. And do you want to live in that torment of feeling, oh, I'm so inflamed and my bones hurt and I can't exercise and I'm stiff, or just not have the ice cream? You know, how much do I have to get it into my bloody head? Ow. Let me just tap it this way. Trinny! Okay, this is actually the Hey You method, okay? This is her lovely tool. I love it. Easing tension. I'm easing the tension of the emotion I'm feeling today. Not talking about cleansers, but talking about bloody, menopause, because it is like, I can't bear that women suffer because there are doctors out there who aren't treating them correctly. I can't bear that. That's so wrong. So wrong. Anyway, if you're just joining us, we were meant to be talking about cleansers. They're all here in front of me, but we sort of veered off course to the menopause and about what you're doing, how you're feeling. And if you happen to have a fantastic practitioner, because many women on here have been given really just like, here's the HRT, dump it, don't even do a test. If you have a great practitioner, please share it. Just share it. And you know, it's up to, can I just say, anyone who leaves a practitioner on here, it's up to you to then go and check them out and check if they're fine. Because, you know, I don't know everyone who's on the channel, but I know the majority of you ladies, because you're on here every bloody week, and I love it. So, but I think it's so fantastic. Yeah, Liv, this was the cleanser talk, but unfortunately, I think the cleanser talk might be next week now. Because it's sort of turned into the hormone talk. Hasn't it, Hannah? Should we just leave the cleansers for next week? It's hormone talk. Okay, Dawn, I started taking sage leaf. And also we got like 4,000 people on right now. So I think we should just keep on this track. I started sage leaf tablets and my hot flushes stopped for day. I mean, sage leaf, you know, there's some incredibly simple things to bring in a routine. Even if you have, you know, like I love the magnolia and the sage, because if you're really feeling, I have had a female cancer and I've been told I can't take, you know, HRT. Start these little support things. And Shabir at Victoria Health is utterly brilliant. You can email them direct saying, I suffer from this, what do you think? He's a pharmacologist. He is not a practicing doctor, but Shabir's knowledge of supplements for your body is incredible. It's beyond everybody that I've ever spoken to. Interesting, Dawn. I recently started taking sage leaf tablets and my hot flushes stopped from day one. To not wake up anymore at night after months of suffering has been such a relief. I was on HRT patches for 2 years, but there was a shortage here in the UK, and so I stopped completely. A shortage. A shortage of something that, I mean, God knows how that came about. They couldn't make enough? Or was it the National Health didn't want to buy enough and they're a bit expensive? We don't live in a country where there's hardly any medical practice. Deirdre, thanks for explaining that the cream was for HRT. My locum doctor said I could use if wanted, but didn't explain what it was. However, it seemed like it had no problems with menopause. Fantastic. Would you recommend HRT even if you are symptom-free? Monica, what I'd say is that there are a few women who, you know what's really interesting? I heard this, and I don't know if this is true, if there's any Japanese ladies listening, but I heard when I was going to do a research on a program on HRT, menopause, I'm obsessed with it for years, that in Japan there isn't a word for menopause. And I don't know if this is true, and if there's any Japanese ladies, please let us know. But it led me to making some assumptions. So I thought either it's such a masochistical society that they won't allow a word to be in the language that describes when a woman goes through this, or women have fewer symptoms. Interesting. Don't know the answer. Love it if anyone can enlighten me. But my mother, you know, always said, you know, I think our mothers, let's just chat about our mothers for a second. My mother went into menopause at 55, and you know, when I was sort of going into it, I asked my mum when she went into menopause, she said, I have no idea, I don't remember. And I remember. The thing is, I said, did it have any effect? She said, not really. I remember at 55, my mum was 55, we got on very badly. I was probably also a difficult hormonal age together. That's why mothers and daughters at those ages, you know, one's going through the menopause, the other's periods are really kicking in, and you're like, ah! Well, not if you had them very young, but I had Lila nearly at 40. So she didn't quite remember, but I remember my mum put on a lot of weight. I remember she was really depressed, because I remember I saw her for the first time in my life crying. And she cried with me, and she said, I can't have sex with your father. And I was like so mortified that she even said that to me. But I just remembered that conversation so well. And then when I saw Erika Schwartz, and I said, look, I always thought, or it was an old wives' tale, that women went into menopause around the same time as their mum. I don't know why. I was told this once. You know when you're told something that stays in your head? I was told this once, and I just thought, okay, how come I went in 10 years earlier? And she said, because you did IVF. I said, what? And she said, because you did IVF. And when I did IVF with Lila, I did 9 rounds of IVF to have Lila, and then I did a further 5 rounds to try and have another child. But in that time, I had, you know, because when you do IVF, you overstimulate your ovaries, so they produce more eggs. So if, let's say, we have a lifespan inside of us of eggs, and then you kind of start using them up much quicker because you're doing IVF. So maybe I would get, you know, normally in a year you might have 10 or 12 or 14 eggs. You know, I mean, you know, your period comes, that's what it is, kind of thing. I'm very bad at biology, by the way. I got a U, but you know what I'm saying. Those people are more qualified than me. And, you know, I would produce, instead of 1, 6 or 8 or 12. So basically, Erika just gave me the most amazing explanation. She said, Trinny, just cut 10 years off your cycle of menopause. I thought, duh, why didn't I see that? And I don't mind that because I have Lila. So anyone who's considering IVF, you know, you might go into menopause early. It's not something an IVF doctor mentioned to me once. And it doesn't make a difference to me. It just means I would have been more prepared. That's all. It means that if somebody had told me that, I would have thought, okay, let me check out. Because when I was 45, a lot of things on in my life, and I didn't understand that 50% of it was about how I was feeling. And my kind of, you know, I was floored by quite a few things. And where was my strength and my power that I normally had? And it had just been sapped out because I'd stopped having my periods. And I wasn't noticing because at 45 I didn't expect. In fact, I thought I was pregnant. You know, if I'm really honest with you, when I stopped having my period, I went to have pregnancy tests. Okay? That's what happened to me. So, you know, it's really important at so many stages to know what's going on with our body. And read her book. Just read. Be informed. That's what I'd ask you. Any age group, if you're watching, you're 20, 30, 40. Hannah, darling, you, my love.
Yeah.
Understand your hormones as a girl in your 20s. Really important. Really important.
Yeah, should be really important.
Yeah. So it's an educator for us, for our kids, for everyone. That Karen wants a recommendation of a really great hormonal expert in Scotland. Does anyone have any? Because she would love one. Can I just say this has been such a good talk, and thank you so much for your contributions. And if you are watching this later, what I would love you to do, and all the women will appreciate it so much, is if you feel that you have an amazing menopause practitioner, whether they're private or whether they're a local doctor, and you're happy to say, this is the doctor I think is great. This is the woman who helped me. This is the man who helped me. This is the person who said, actually, let's do a hormone test. Let's check them. Maybe you shouldn't be on HRT, but here's some alternatives. You know, that's what we're looking for. Louise Newson's come up again, menopause. I mean, there's some very good books on menopause, but it is, be informed, ladies. Be informed, be in control of your bodies. Don't let your body control you. You control, lift up, protect, and love your body. That's what this is about, isn't it? Because in a way, by sort of stuffing our face with chocolate and ice cream and trying to climb a mountain when our body's saying, actually, I'm exhausted and tired and you're not feeding me some hormones, listen to our bodies. What are they trying to tell us? You know, otherwise we spend our life fighting it and thinking, okay, come on, you can do this, you can do this. And then what will happen is all those, you know, poor ladies who suffer from total adrenal burnout, total autoimmune diseases, you know, these things can be sparked by us not listening to our bodies. So that's my thing. So for me, I'm saying this really because I want to say it to me. You know, I want to commit to myself today. So I'm doing the water, still doing that. But like, we're here, we're all listening, we're all still listening in because we want to do something for ourselves that will make us feel really good and strong for everything that's out there. You know, we have an uncertain time. So if we're healthy and we're strong, we can deal with so much more. So that's really what we deserve to do, primarily for ourselves, and secondly, for those around us who love us and who we love. So, my commitment this week, I'm going to commit for this week, and I'm just going to do it a week at a time, that I will not have sugar. And I have set, you know, I've sat in front of you ladies and I've made this commitment to you, and I've kept up sometimes for 6 weeks is the most I've done it for, but I just want to commit to you in front of you. I want to commit to all the ladies who are in now. Andrea, Chris, Lindsay, Bay, Sholi, Shani, Joanne, Diana, Janet, Lisa, Jane, Monica, Heidi, Susie, Mary, Janet, Mary, Ashley, Lena, Seema, Al, Sylvie, Isabel. I'm committing to all of you ladies, all of you, that for a week I will not do sugar. Okay, what do you want to commit to today? You know, do you want to commit? So I want you to write down your commitment now of what you want to do, because I find when I write something, I do it more. So is your commitment that maybe you have not really researched your how to deal with your menopause properly, and there's a commitment for that? Is your commitment that you're going to do another week of sticking to the 2 liters of water minimum per day? That's a great commitment. Is your commitment that you're going to not do sugar for a week? Is that commitment? Is your commitment that you're going to take up tequila? Take up tequila. I have a girlfriend of mine and she just said, I switched from wine to tequila. It changed my life. I'm funny. So anyway, what's your commitment? I want to see some written down now. I'm scrolling through the comments. I want to see them written down because I want you to do those commitments. Write those commitments down, you know. Really write those commitments down. So come on. I need to see some before I leave. I need to see you writing some down. Okay, Suzanne Summers, I know, I agree. All right, so write them down. What are you going to commit to this week? So Lorraine, what are you going to commit to this week? It helped me so much with my energy levels. Lorraine, I've had fluctuating energy, but getting myself sorted, who knows what I wouldn't have had if I hadn't started to look after elements of my body, and I am now 56, 57 in February. Okay, sugar, as we're older, is one of our biggest problems. So I'm looking for commitments, ladies. I'm looking for commitments. Come on. You're committing, Joanna, to no sugar this week too. You felt so much better when you was abstaining. Joanna, I'm with you on the journey. I'm going to think about your name when I am committing. In fact, Hannah, can we write some of these down? And then we're going to list the other people at the end. Raj, my commitment to get the hormone book and to read it first. Brilliant. Liz, okay, Malin, no sugar for me and do rehab for my sore hip and foot. Fantastic. Julie, her commitment is ordering Dr. Erika's books. Brilliant. Manolaki, no sugar, no carbs for me, Trinny. Brilliant. I mean, carbs, like, yeah, you could start with, you know, let's also not give ourselves insurmountable mountains. So I love no sugar. Just build it in slowly. Colleen, but it's fantastic if you can do it. Committing to more water daily, no sugar this week, and more yoga. Brilliant. Karen, commencing on fast 800, Dr. Michelle Mosley, intermittent fasting regime, lots of water. Brilliant. Vanessa is committing to finding out more about HRT, and more water and no sugar is my commitment. Heart, cross, tequila. Madalena, commitment, drink hot water with lemon for at least 1 week per month. Fantastic, Madalena. You know what I do to make it easy is I put hot water and lemon sometimes in a flask at night. So when I wake up in the morning, it's by my bed. Stephanie, you're saying do an interview with Dr. Louise Newton. I'd love to. Fantastic. Joanne, it will be hard, but fruit has sugar, so I feel it's natural. That's fine. When I say I'm committing to no sugar, I mean refined sugars. I'm still going to have an apple. Rachel, just had the all clear from thyroid cancer. Fantastic, Rachel. So now committed to get my health the best it can be, so no sugar or processed foods. Rachel, go for it, darling. And how fantastic for you to have that all clear. Elena, no sugars for a week. I've already kept to my water intake. Thank you, Trinny. Elena, well done for last week and excited you're on the journey of no sugar for this week. Joanna, drink 2 litres of water and reduce sugar intake. I'm 38 and your discussion has been interesting. Thank you, darling. Denise, I'm going to keep drinking water, cut out sugar and exercising 3 times a week. Fantastic, Denise. Janet, for a week, I'll research healthy alternatives at my age 57. Go for it, Janet. Karen, I just ate lollies for the first time in years. No sugar for me. Yay, tequila sounds great. Vic, do 2 litres of water a day. The husband keeps nagging me about my water intake. Vic, your husband is nagging you. What a lovely husband. Jane, please, Trinny, look at my menopause doctor website, Louise Newton. We will look at that, darling. Tina, water. I have an amazing water filter system, at least 3 litres a day. Brilliant. Valentina, I'm in my 30s and I have a problem with sugar. Don't know how to get rid of it. Valentina, I might do something on sugar, but if you can look at your local health food store and find something called chromium. Chromium are little drops and they help to decrease sugar cravings. So any naturopath or homeopathic or just a kind of person who's into supplements will tell you about chromium, but look it up. It's very good. Morag, I read Erika's book and continue to aim for 2 litres of water plus add flax seeds to breakfast. Committing to no sugar, says Catherine. This is just brilliant. Can I just say, all these commitments are amazing. Amazing. So, Hannah, can we read out the people who were committing to 2 litres of water from last week? Do you have it?
Yeah, I've got some of them in front of me. So
okay, Hannah's going to read out those ladies last week who committed to no water. And if you're listening, did you do it? Okay, read them out, Hannah, loud and clear.
So 2 litres of water, we've got Chrissy Novu, Beverly Lindau, Gabby Deatley, Anne Hall, Dawn Burnett Ryan, Leslie Thorne, Sally Nicholas, Mary Schneider, Lisa Ferrari, Alison Asplund, Angela Scott, Sue Gardner, Sarah Cook, Vivian Cohen, Susanna Insulanza, Denise Robbins, Susan Morgan, Deirdre Stockdale, Mary Lou, Alka Anand, Dizzy Bird, Amanda Carrick, Norma Hamilton, Lisa Beasley, Lisa Torres, Siobhan Kelly, Helen Cassidy-Cashin, Kate Sullivan, Heather White, Judy Bryn, Hassan Gulma, Amy Stoneback, Nancy Douglas, Florence Bond, Lucinda Meadows, Elaine Flan, Ruyan, Helen Hall, Margarita Cascaran, Shannon Nielsen, Rosemary Weiss, Garber, and Elizabeth Garner.
Can I just say, Hannah, first of all, thank you very much, because Hannah went through all the comments last week, and there were thousands to get those names. So I love that. I am going to ask you, Hannah, because this is where I want you ladies to feel we hear all of each other. So if you can look through, Hannah, and just see a bit. Otherwise, because I know there's thousands and thousands of comments today, but let's pick out some of women who've committed to something. But I think, if we have this forum to commit once a week to each other, it will be in the front of our minds and we can support each other. And I just want to thank you all for watching. And it's been really great. And we will definitely do how to clean your skin properly next week. Have a great day. Bye.